Welcome to episode 107 of the Guardian 1 podcast. We record live Thursdays at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/Guardian 1 Network. My name is Remy, and tonight I am joined by Jez.
Good morning.
Agrios, who is apparently still muted. Agrios?
Greetings, Guardians.
Sharks.
Challenge mode.
And Gray.
Good evening, everyone.
We're going to be talking about all things Destiny, but first, housekeeping.
Hello, Guardians. Thank you for listening in on the podcast, however it is that you are choosing to listen. Be sure to follow Guardian 1 on Twitter, at G1Net. That's G, the number 1, N-E-T. In addition, be sure to check out the Guardian 1 website at guardian1.net. If you want to send us an email, you can send it to feedback@guardian1.net. If you do a search on Bungie.net for Guardian 1, you'll find our forums group, which we also use for both comments and feedback. Big thank you to all those currently in the Twitch chat. As Remy said at the top of the podcast, you can watch the show live at twitch.tv/Guardian1Network. We broadcast every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. If you can't catch the show live, you can always search for the Guardian 1 podcast on iTunes, as well as the Guardian 1 YouTube channel at youtube.com/Guardian1Network. Guardian 1 is a proud member of the Guardian Radio Network, so be sure to check out the Guardian Radio Network website at theguardiansofdestiny.com. There you'll find all the different podcasts as part of the network, including the flagship podcast, Guardian Radio. They broadcast every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. You can also follow their Twitter account at GuardiansOfD and their YouTube channel, youtube.com/GuardiansOfD. Other podcasts that are part of the Guardian Radio Network include previous episodes of TTL Party Chat and Robust Radio. There's also a podcast called Ghost and Echoes, which contains a bit of fan fiction and audio versions of the Grimoire cards found within Destiny. That's it for housekeeping. I'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much, Hollow River. Okay, I wanted to start off episode 107 a little bit differently. Usually I start off with something I want to talk about, and this week I want to start off with something that I didn't know that I was going to want to talk about, and that is spooky trials. Okay, I'm hoping that you guys, at least some of you, had a chance to try a card out with this. I was not planning on trying spooky trials whatsoever. I wasn't interested in it. The idea of no radar and no revives made it seem like it would just be a total blowout on one direction or the other, and I kind of just lucked into one. Like I had been playing with K-Dub and some of the guys from Sherpa School and Wrath of the Machine, and we were going to go through Heroic, and it was really cool. Like I felt really good about my playing until the very end when I totally dropped the ball. Like I totally was in the wrong place at the wrong time at our best run through. And granted, if some of the other guys hadn't continued to die over and over, we might have had more time to try it again. But really, when it came down to it, our best run on Axis, I dropped the ball, and it sucked, and I felt crappy about it totally. And so we were trying to get together another party before the end of the week, and we couldn't get enough people together, and so it was just me and K-Dub and a guy named Hades, who is one of these Sherpa School guys, but he wasn't there when we were doing Wrath of the Machine, and quite a few times several of the Sherpa School guys were like, hey, it's a shame we don't have Hades here because we would be done with this already. Like they were complimenting him on his organizational skills and also his ability to motivate people to do well. And so I was looking forward to playing with him, and then we just weren't finding anyone. And K-Dub says jokingly, "Well, maybe we should do like a trials card." And Hades was shy about this because he says that he's not really a very good PvP player, and so he wasn't certain. And with that kind of thought process, I'm not a very good, especially trials player, and so I was like, well, I don't know either. But then I decided to go in. I decided to go in on this trials, and I have to say that I loved Spooky Trials. No radar, excellent. No revives, even better. I had the most fun on Spooky Trials than I've ever had in any Crucible mode in Destiny, period. It was an amazing amount of fun, and I read a lot of there. This was a very polarizing weekend for Trials. A lot of the big name YouTubers were very very upset. They said that no radar made it way easier for shotgunners to come in because you couldn't see where they were, and I don't know what happened, but I fell on the opposite pole of that. Like, I felt because there was no radar, they couldn't see where I was. Like, I feel like when there's a radar available to everyone, they just hunt you down. They know exactly where you are within a certain amount of meters, and they can close that distance, and then you're screwed. I had the exact opposite. Experience. I felt like it was, if you could keep X amount of meters in between you and an opening, they ran out into the open and just got gunned down. And this is not to say that I had very much luck with Trials. The only match that we won, not round, but match that we won, was the very, very last match that we played. And that was at the same time when we got our 20 rounds. But I had so much fun. Watching shotgunners run by you and then shooting them is the most fun that I've had. And this brought forth a ton of teamwork. Like, in order to the other players, the other two people on your team are your radar, so if you have good team communication, you can play this game and be competitive. And it was so much fun. Like, I can't say this enough, and I couldn't wait for the show. Like, I just knew that, like, I just wanted to talk about this. And so I would like to ask you guys now, Jesus, Agrios, I just saw your contacts. Okay, so Gray, did you have a chance to play Trials this weekend?
I did. I probably did, I don't know, maybe about 5 or 6 cards this weekend.
And what did you feel? Okay, so give me your overall impression, and then specifically no radar, specifically no revives. What did you think about this?
So I think it was a fantastic idea to put some sort of modifier on Trials. I think that they need to shake up that game mode more frequently. With the way that the game mode is, you kind of have a pretty good idea of what your quality of play is. You can look at the players, and I'm a numbers guy, so I look up on Destiny Trials Report. I look up the elos of the people I'm playing against, the team that I'm with. I make an assessment of, on our best day, what's our likelihood that we're going to win this match versus on our average day, what do we have to do to really make this thing happen? And Trials just becomes very much an idea of, I know which matches we're likely to win, I know which ones we're not likely going to win, but it's because the game mode stays so stagnant. What I loved about this weekend, there was modifiers. You would go up against a team, they've never run into this type of modifier before. Who knows if they can actually adapt appropriately to what it's going to require to excel at this game type. Now, I was a little bit concerned about the streaming community, the content creators generally not enjoying the modifier, partly because I think that their performance was not quite as well. with the modifier in place. But I'm thinking that they need to do this more regularly. I would actually argue they should probably do an every other weekend regular trials, some kind of modifier trials.
Did you enjoy it or no?
I I really enjoyed it. I can't say we did well, kind of like what you're saying for your team. I wasn't enjoying it because I was winning. I was enjoying it because it was competitive and it was different.
Yeah.
As far as the
Continue.
spookiness itself, so
Oh
going
yeah.
deep into just the to what they did this weekend, that little shadow spider coming down your
Yeah.
screen was pretty awesome. I almost wish that it was better well defined. That actually made it a little bit more alarming. The audio that went with it was definitely alarming. I thought that was a really cool effect that they added. Uh, the no radar, I could take or leave. It doesn't necessarily affect my style of play as much. It didn't bother me not having it. The no revives I really enjoyed though. It totally changed the way that you play the game in terms of your strategy of, do you, when you get an early kill, you get an early pick, do you rush to try to control that area of the map so you can control that orb? Well, if no revives, it doesn't matter, right? It takes that completely off the table. And I really enjoyed a style of play where I didn't feel like I had to rush to control an orb and put myself or my teammates at risk, to try to gain position on an early pick. Because I've lost a lot of rounds where we've rushed too hard to try to gain control over an orb on an early pick, to just put ourselves at risk and get, picked, a couple of our guys picked, and then we're actually at a disadvantage in that round.
Right? Or exactly the opposite side of that coin. If you don't rush to control that orb, then the other person is back up, and then you've basically started the whole match over again. There was such a feeling of finality in the game playing. Once you downed an opponent, that was just it. You could just move on from there. You've just moved yourself up one. And I don't think that I felt necessarily the pressure of that, going the opposite direction. Like, I don't feel like I like, once one of my teammates went down, I didn't all of a sudden feel like we weren't going to win that match. As a matter of fact, I did some of my absolute best playing in Crucible period over this period of time, and this was the first time that I had played with this guy Hades, and it was just so much fun. I just had so much fun, and really the no radar, I feel, was just as important as the no revives, just because, like I watch my radar constantly. I'm a radar hound. Like, I will make sure that I am either working my way back or working my way forward or around. But with no radar, I felt like I became one with the map. That sounds probably very stupid, but I felt like instead of being focused on what I saw with my third eye, I was really focused on, well, here is a doorway, here is another doorway, here is an opening. Like, I felt like I had so much more consciousness of what the map was, and where to go and what to do. And I feel like the people who were complaining about the shotguns rushing in were the people who, like you were saying, like, can they adapt to this new play style? And I feel like, because my play style is to hold a little bit back anyways, I don't hang out in an area where them rushing through the doorway would get them anything from me. And not only that, I want to say this right now: the trespasser rules. The trespasser is the answer to the equation. How do you stop a rampant shotgunner? That's it. Like, I killed so many fools with the trespasser, and I had so much fun with it. And I don't know. I would love to see this be the way Trials is anyways. This felt to me more competitive and also more chill at the same time. Like, you killed somebody, they killed somebody. That was it. You didn't get to come back until next round. And things moved so much faster, I felt. There was one or two rounds where it was like, the people in my ear saying, hey, he's following through this doorway. And I know that the other side was doing the same thing. Like, somebody saw my outline. And I actually saw a lot of people, a lot of bigger name YouTubers and Twitch streamers calling for there to be some kind of limit for how long people can see you in your outline. But I don't know. I feel like that's a very interesting part of the game. like them saying to me, he's coming through the pool room. I don't know. It was just really a lot of fun for me. Agrios, did you get a chance to play a Trials card this weekend?
I did. Sharks and I and
Nerdy.
Nerdy, right? Yeah, it was Nerdy. We went ahead and I was trying to get to 5 at least to get my emblem. I didn't succeed. I plan on doing that this weekend. If there's 2 like excellent Trials players out there that feel like me, minimally helping them get me to 5, I'd be interested in that. But I really enjoyed the modifiers. I went into it expecting to enjoy it a little more. I feel like stuff like this can maybe put some of the people who are like ridiculous at it maybe off their mark just a little bit and give me maybe a better shot at it. I like the difference of playing with no radar, though I don't think it necessarily helps my play style. Like, I think I'm fairly radar reliant in my play style, so I'm probably worse without it, though I appreciate playing without it for fun. I still enjoy it. I don't mind being at a disadvantage necessarily, or at less of a, with less at my disposal than I normally have. That doesn't really bother me. I had fun. I like the surprise spider type things. I thought that was definitely getting into the spirit of things. I really honestly would have liked to have seen this application of the Festival of the Lost event taken with many, many, many more aspects of Destiny. Like, I feel like not having these sort of things, affecting strikes and stuff like that really was a missed opportunity. And I think could have kind of counteracted the taking away the blue masks and locking all that behind a paywall if they just would have had more of the event applied this way, blanket across Destiny.
That's a really good comment on the situation as a whole, because I was actually going to ask what you guys thought that they could do next festival to make it magical again, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Because what's that?
There's not going to be a next festival.
You don't think so? You don't think there's going to be no Destiny 2?
No, Destiny 2 launched like a month before the next festival. So.
Well, I mean, you don't think that there's ever going to be another festival again?
Yeah, but I think Destiny 2 Festival of the Lost are going to be a completely different animal. At least I hope they are.
I mean, I hope they are too. Sharks, so you had a chance to play a card. Did you enjoy the modifiers? Did you enjoy it overall, Trials?
Yeah, when Velvet Maynard and I jumped in, was the first card I ran. I was really hyped on having something different, but not really playing that kind of a game mode in Destiny. I mean, no, I can't remember ever playing anything like that in Destiny. I mean, I've played things, where we have no radar, or we've played matches. I don't even think I've played this in Destiny, but matches in other games where you're playing and you can't revive, you can't, it's elimination, and I've enjoyed that kind of stuff. I think the mix up of that in Trials was amazing. In fact, Velvet had made a comment to one of the Crucible Radio guys, and they were really jumping on board with this. But again, there were so many people that weren't, and they were like, yeah, it kind of sucks because there's only certain people that are gonna really grab onto this. And I said, I'm totally going to be one of those people. I'm going to promote it because it is nice seeing something different like that. It is definitely very different, which makes it very hard if you are stuck in a rut playing a certain way. And that's what a lot of those YouTubers and those Twitch players were like. They are used to jumping into a Trials match, going in there and pulling out their sniper, or pulling out their shotgun. They have their ways. You can do both ways. And, being able to see what's going on, being able to use those revives and everything. And they just, like you say, can't cope with the change I think the change is good. I think it potentially could bring more people into play. I don't think it did enough to bring more people in. What it did is it brought in a lot of carries. But, I mean, overall, I think it was great. Jumping in with Agrios and Nerdy, same thing. I knew what it was going to be like. And Agrios was like, well, what kind of guns? I go, you realize it's no radar. There's no revives. He's like, oh, no. And I was like, okay. So, it's going in with new people again. But, if it was this coming up weekend, which we don't know if they're going to play it one more time, they could.
I think they will.
I hope they do. I think the people that played it only once, I'd love to go back in there with Agrios and Nerdy and see if we could do it with them and get them a little bit further. But yeah, no, I mean, it was great. Got our 5 wins, got my emblem. We all did. And we're like, yeah, really stoked. But I unfortunately didn't play very much Trials this past weekend just because people's schedules didn't kind of pan out. And another game came out that one of my Trials buddies apparently really loves Battlefield. So yeah, but no, it was great. I look forward to, like what Gray says, having them bring changes like this more often, really mix it all up. That would be awesome.
When going into year 3, I've been thinking a lot about where I want to spend my time in Destiny. And, at this point, there's so many activities and so much to do that it's, if you don't have a ton of time to play, then you really have to, figure out what it is that you want to do. And I just know that I don't have the time and energy to put into trying to go to the lighthouse, which is really the ultimate point of playing Trials. The weapons from the gear from the gold package, they drop at 390, which doesn't help anybody. And so now,
you can randomly get end of match rewards.
That's true. That's true.
And we did 2 Trials cards, almost 2 Trials cards, me and Nerdy and Sharks. And over the course of those 2 Trials cards, we each got 1 light adjusted piece of armor. That was an increase for us.
Yeah,
in Shark's case, a tie at least.
Well, I didn't want to steal any more time on this, but actually, this is something that I do want to bring up. It's very, very frustrating. Going in year 2, people could go and they could play Trials cards, and they knew that if they played long enough, they were going to get rewarded. And unfortunately, it's like Bungie has taken a step back, and they are only rewarding the top tier players. Really, you get rewarded by going to Lighthouse. You get rewarded at 5 and 7 wins. I mean, I'm lucky enough that when Maynard and Velvet and I go in, I don't think we've ever played a card where we didn't get to at least 5 wins. But I go in with other people and maybe we're not that good, and that's really, it's frustrating for me because I want everybody to enjoy it, and enjoyment is finding those rewards. And it's
I enjoy it either way.
Yeah, no, but not everybody does. People go in there. I mean, I know I have friends on my friends list that if they know they're not going to get anything, they're not going to play. They're gonna be like, no, it's not worth my time to go in there and play that sweaty match and not get anything for it. And I kind of understand that. And it's just really sad because Bungie could have they could have used this as an opportunity to pull more people in to play Trials, and especially doing a change like this. Look how excited Remy is. He's like, oh yeah, they've done this change. I want to go in. I want to play it. And they could have done that with so many other people, but kind of taking the reward system and kind of stepping back a little bit, it's counterintuitive, really. I just wanted to bring that up because it's really frustrating to me.
No, that's exactly where I was going with it, and my point was exactly that they've taken this really sweet loot, and I'm not even saying they're wrong for putting it behind the lighthouse. It's supposed to be something special. I mean, to be perfectly honest, most of the people who get to the lighthouse, I don't think it's special for them. They go every week. What is there is no Did they really have to try for that, or are they just really masters of this game? Like I don't feel like it's that special. But they've put all the really sweet stuff at the end of winning. 5 wins, 7 wins, Lighthouse. And so looking at Trials leading up to this last week, I basically, wrote it off. Like I said to myself, okay, well, I'm not interested. I've already been to the Lighthouse once. It was super cool. Had a really good time. Got some cool gear. Don't need to do it again. I'm ready to move on and focus on these other things. But after playing this week's, if this is what every week was like, if there was no revives and no radar every week, I would make time to play Trials despite knowing that I'm most likely not getting to the Lighthouse because I'm just not that great of a player. I would make time for it because it was so much fun. It felt so free. It felt so natural. There wasn't, revives, are awesome, but it's cumbersome. And when you die, and it's like, oh man, if you can just make it over to me, I can get back up. Like once you die, I just let it go. I just let my teammates go. They died. They're not coming back. It just felt so freeing and refreshing. And the same thing with no radar. They didn't know where I was. I didn't know where they were. Like that puts the footing so squarely even that I felt like what a great match. Like even when we lost, I had a great time. So despite them putting all these sweet rewards somewhere else, whenever this is the game type, if this comes up again, I will make time to play it on both systems because it's fun. Right.
But see, the other issue that I have, it's not even just the reward system and putting it behind winning. It's the bounty system. Like Agrios's first question was, we can play a card and get gold tier package. And I literally said to him and Nerdy, I was like, yeah, we can do that. I don't care about the gold tier package. I mean, that's what we do. 390 gear, and it's last year's gear. I don't want either of those things.
Oh, is there no new gear dropping from those gold packages?
No, it's old gear.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
No, it is a re-roll on gear. If you're, if you're looking for a certain roll on a certain pair of things, it is at least another one of those. So, I mean, looking at the bright side, that's what it is,
Yeah, but that's just disappointing, that it's, I don't know.
It should have been 400. I agree, especially with them changing it to be conditional on winning.
Yeah.
If it were still year 2 bounties where it was just a participation award, I'd be way more down with it being 390 and just a reroll. But now that it actually involves winning, now that for someone like me, it involves me doing at least 2 full trials cards per character if I want to achieve that bounty. And even then, maybe I'm still like 1 or 2 matches, away from getting it. That's what happened this past week. Me, Sharks, and Nerdy, we had 2 full cards, and I was still 1 match, 1 win, or one round win or something away from actually completing my gold tier. Totally. I never even finished it because it's just a reroll on an item, so it wasn't a big deal. But like Sharks is saying, some people won't play without the rewards. I won't grind something without good rewards. I'll play something for the sake of playing it, just if it checks off a box somewhere for me. Like just if I get a box checked for having done something, that's enough incentive for me to at least play it. And if it's fun, I'll play it a couple times. But if it's not rewarding,
trials cards.
If it's not rewarding, regardless of the situation, I'm not going to grind it. It's not something I'm going to play to advance my character.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Jez, did you get a chance to play some Trials this weekend? I did see you on Twitter saying that you wanted to have spiders on your screen.
What?
You were tweeting about you wanted to have spiders on your screen?
I don't even know if that was related.
Oh.
But, no, I didn't. Just too much.
Just because?
Just mostly because Battlefield was out, and not too many people in my clan like to play it.
Got it. That's interesting.
Without the radar and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Let's see.
Well, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad that I just happened.
I did say
get invited.
Who wants to carry me to 5 wins on Inferno Trials? Asking for a friend.
Yeah, I thought, I could be mistaken, but I don't think so. I thought that you were saying something about wanting spiders on your screen because that's what happened in Trials was like this shadow of a spider came down on your screen.
No, I
Maybe I'm
don't
mistaken.
remember that.
You know what? I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna retweet it just so everyone listening knows that I'm not totally an idiot. But yeah, I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. It just felt so refreshing to me. I really felt like it was. I felt like I stood a chance, with everybody running a Matador 64. And I want to say this right now. So I'm watching my eldest son, my 8-year-old, play some Crucible today. He wants to get his treasure on one of his characters, and so I'm watching him play, and he gets what has to be a max range stat rolled Matador 64, and it's just amazing to me. Like not only does he have one of those ballistics that raises the already insane range, but he got one with what is it? Braced frame or whatever one makes it go up past the S and pickups. Like rifled barrel, and he already runs shotgun. Like he already like I have not shown him by any example that running around with a shotgun produces the best results. He's just happened to find this on his own, that if you have a shotgun and you can get close enough, you can just kill the person just like that. And it's sad. It's funny and it's sad because I don't want to be like, well, you're going to do this the right way, and die over and over, like if he wants to run shotgun, awesome, it works. And now he has the tools with which to do it. And I don't know, I've played so much more Crucible than him and I don't have one of those things. But yeah. Okay. What's that?
Oh, nothing. I was responding to a text that flashed on my screen.
Oh.
But actually, yeah, no, I RNG blessed me recently. I wasn't able to get a Matador that was a good roll for a long time, but I recently got 2 within 24 hours that are only slightly different rolls. One was good and the other one was even better, but it's full auto rangefinder, rifle barrel, and ballistics that increase the impact and range. So I got lucky with that. So we've been talking about Trials. So, something else that I think it needs to be discussed. Recently, Bungie unleashed the ban hammer, maybe a little harder than before. At least they were talking tough about it and whatnot. But is it enough? It seems to me that these people were only banned first off from Trials. And the problem that this is creating is that people are now offering paid Trials carries with DDoS guarantees. As in, we will get you there to the point whereas if we have to DDoS a match, we're going to DDoS a match and you can pass. Here's the thing. These people getting these carries and paying for these carries don't care if their account eventually gets banned from Trials. They still have the emblem. They still have the grimoire. They never play Trials anyway because they're terrible at it apparently, or don't care about it, and they're paying someone for the carry and the lighthouse visit anyway. So is what Bungie doing even going to do anything to remotely prevent this from continuing? I mean, if people are getting paid $60 a carry to take people to the lighthouse,
yep,
they'll create new Destiny accounts and PSN accounts all day long, and you can hide your IP. That's easy.
Well, okay, here's the thing that I wanted to say about this. When I saw that post that went viral on Twitter about the guy that was super, super stoked that he went to the lighthouse and he didn't feel bad that he spent $60 to do it. All right. And I think that the problem is that because the way just matchmaking alone is in Trials, it makes it so hard for people to win. If they changed the way matchmaking was, more people would play because they wouldn't be put up against, god players. I mean, you literally, you go in sometimes and there's no way you're going to win. Maynard James loves looking at ELO like Gray does. And he'll go, oh no, this is going to be a horrible match. This guy has 1,800. Oh, his friend does too, and his friend does too. It's like, oh man, we're in trouble. But because of that, people are willing to spend money to get carried there. Why not just change the whole format as far as who you're going to play against, then people aren't going to spend their money, hard-earned money, to pay some dude to maybe do it properly, or maybe cheat the system and do this DDoS stuff and get them through a trials card. I mean, it's just dumb. And Bungie could easily stop that. Forget, ban hammering, like you say, it only goes so well, then somebody's just going to jump on and get another character and do it again. It's like, stop it by helping the player that they can actually go in there and participate.
And frankly, as far as what I was bringing up, I don't care if people go out and pay people for trials carries. I don't agree with the practice, but I don't fault the people paying. I fault the people charging more than I fault the people paying. In fact, I don't fault the people paying at all. Like, if you have the extra money, whatever you do to bring yourself enjoyment that doesn't hurt anybody else with that money is fair game, and I hold nothing against you. The people charging, I feel like they're bringing a negative element to the community and the game, and that's a bad thing. But I don't have a problem with it continuing. I don't see Bungie needing to do anything to stop that. Do I think that them making it more plausible for lesser skilled players to make it to the lighthouse a good thing? I'm a big fan of everybody getting to participate and get their stuff. So I think that, like, that's great. But I also understand their desire to make it special. And the more you lean it toward making it enjoyable and easier for the average PvPer, the less special you're going to make it over time.
Is
My
that what
real
challenge
concern-
modes are? They make
what's that?
the raid. Do challenge modes make the raid special for the PvE players?
I wish they did.
Yeah, they had something. I mean, they had something.
Yeah.
I actually want to expand on something Sharks had said, because I think that Bungie needs to rework how they do the matchmaking in Trials. I think the only people that are really satisfied with the matchmaking right now are the people that are the really elite players. And a lot of people say Trials is for the elite PvP players, and that's fine, but this is my suggestion of what would make it more accessible for everybody. So I'm actually gonna base it on what I had to go through as part of my board exams to become a pharmacist. When you go and sit for your board exam to become a pharmacist, the early questions that you have in this like 250 question exam are low-hanging fruit questions, right? They're softballs. And if you answer them right, progressively through the exam, it will adjust the questions and make them more difficult. If you start getting the difficult questions wrong, it will adjust the exam and those questions will become easier. And as you go through, eventually you reach a point where the exam ends, you've answered all the questions. Each question you answer is weighted. And at the end, if you have enough weighted points, then you pass or you don't pass. So imagine applying that same principle to Trials. You start off your matches, you have your elo, you have your skill set or your average elo across your team. You start playing teams that are slightly below your elo. If you play well, then you start playing against teams that are at your elo, and then eventually as you get towards the end of your card, teams that are moderately above your elo and then much above your elo. What it rewards is people who actually are playing above their skill level. If you play under your skill level, then you play against softer teams, but you're less likely going to get wins on your card. I think that the Trials matchmaking should adjust as you go through your card to become more difficult and really reward the people who are playing above their current skill level, almost like a handicap type system.
Sharks.
I like anything new, anything other than what they have. I would totally be down for that. I mean, I go in each week, and we literally, last week I went in, and the very, very first set of people that we went up to, first win on the card, they all were 1800 yellow. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's you're it's guaranteed loss pretty much. I mean, for our skill base.
Where do you look this up?
There's a couple different sites.
What's the best one?
Destiny Tracker has it. I use DestinyTrialsReport.com.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Their elos are
I'm
different. So like a Destiny Tracker elo of 1800 is like a Destiny Trials Report elo of 2400 or something like that.
I want to see what mine is.
Problem is, the ELO should
I've never
be
looked
a
mine up or
standardized
compared it
number.
to anybody.
Oh, enter yours or your opponent's gamer tag.
I think that the way it's set up right now, you at any time during your card you could run into a team that happens to have just the same amount of wins or losses that you have on your card, namely the wins. They have the same number of wins. Maybe you have one win on your card, but that team could be the team that goes to the lighthouse every card that they get. They're that good. It doesn't matter that you guys are both on your first wins. You just happen to have another piece of RNG in your life, thanks to Destiny, that you just happen to match with them. And I think
Now,
that they could do better than that.
What I have said to people when I've talked about this, and like I complain about it, ask Velvet and Maynard, I complain about it every week. I say what they should do, because they're basing it off the main thing is they're basing it off of how many wins the card has. So what it should be, okay, so if you have 0 wins so far, all those people in that pool, there, you'll have 2,400 ELO, you'll have 900 ELO. You should be your ELO score should be all, however they determine the percentage, and put up against somebody very similar in skill, just like what you're saying, Gray, and sure, go up higher as the wins go. I'm okay with that to a point too, but I think
and that's basically what they did in year 1. What you're describing, Sharks.
Yeah, except for that there was something different about how they did it in year 1, and I don't remember.
They didn't do the wins.
They didn't do the wins. That's right. So it was just so everybody was saying it was sweaty all the time. I mean, it's sweaty all the time.
It's still going to be sweaty if you do it your way, because it's skill-based
Right.
matchmaking,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're also losing the connection-based matchmaking.
See, there you go. This is where I'm going to go off on one, because there is no connection-based matchmaking anyways. Don't sit there and tell me that
There is.
There is, but the
Bungie-
problem is you have people from different
That's
places.
why you're going up against that 1,800 ELO people instead of people on your skill level, because of the connection.
No, it's
Well-
not, because you still get crap connection against. Like, we've gone up
And
against
it would
Red
be
Bar.
even worse with other people.
Well,
All right, so
hopefully when Destiny 2 and they have a new engine and new netcode built into it, we won't even have these conversations, right? We won't even complain about netcode anymore.
No more peer-to-peer. Down with peer-to-peer. Dedicated server.
Down with peer-to-peer.
So
What'd you
so
find?
I wish what Bungie would do with specifically Trials is I wish they would quit giving people incentives to go back in. Like if you're a badass player and Trials is where all the great gear is, then Bungie keeps giving you a reason to go back in and keep getting more gear. There's a problem with that. I have a problem with that. Like I wish that there was a one-time through. You went to the lighthouse. Now that character, you don't have to worry about playing on that character anymore. You're not going to get anything else. Like, I feel like they keep incentivizing. Huh?
That is the way it is, right?
No, you can go in once every day and get the gold package.
Oh,
This is a problem. This is a problem to me. Like I feel like there should be a lockout. Once you've gotten this stuff, that's it. If you want to keep playing, it's because you're a jerk and because you want to ruin people's dreams of going to the lighthouse. That's
also
No,
all
but
the
you know
random
what?
drops.
Okay, there are people. I have been in Trials matches where some of these really good players come in and they almost let you win. Man, they have already been to the lighthouse. So you get the opposite too. It's not just people being jerks. I mean, I go in, I want to win. I understand why they want to come in and destroy your dreams of getting your card done. But I agree with you. I think that they should do something. Maybe put them in their own pool. But
there it is.
That's going to be really difficult though, because you have people carrying people to the lighthouse. So then what are you going to do?
I don't
You'll
know.
have fun carrying them with sweaty players.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they could do that. That's a possibility.
Okay, so I'm on the website, and where do I see my ELO? Like I've tried to find this before, and I have not found it. Under Crucible?
So the reason I brought this up, we haven't really talked about it too much, is what do you think Bungie should do about the cheating situation? Because rather than it decreasing, it seems to be increasing. Like to the point now where people are just blatantly advertising DDoS carries. These people are only getting bans from trials, sometimes temporary at first, permanent if they're doing a bad job, but it's just bans from trials. If you're not someone who's ever intending on playing trials again after you get your lighthouse visit and your marks and your grimoire, none of that matters. So, I mean, do they need to start going straight to permanent bans from all of Destiny? And is this,
I thought it was permanent ban. That's what they said last week in the
from trials?
Was it just trials?
Yes.
Okay, so where do I find the ELO? R3MYAUXILIARY. Okay, wait. Something just came up. ELO 980.54. That sucks, right? Like I'm an easy target.
Well, you start out when you first go in, you start out at 1200, and for every loss, it goes down.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's so. I want to ruin Gray's proposal. The problem with the ELO matching is people will tank their ELO just to have those type of matches.
Oh.
So I want to brag here for a second. I am in the top 1% of lifespan in overall 1 minute and 35 seconds. I'm number 2,348. I think that's pretty sweet. I'll take it.
And
I'm in the
playing more trials. That number will drop.
I don't know. Maybe. Or maybe I'm just that guy that hangs out in the back with Ephrodite.
I don't know what my ELO is now, and I don't care. I don't look at it. But last year, before I went into trials, somebody was talking about it, so I looked at mine and I was like, oh, okay, it's not bad. And for weeks and weeks and weeks, I went in and played tons and tons of trials with lots of different random people. I mean, I was talking about on the podcast, I wanted a sec group to go in and try to do good. And I didn't have that last year, and man, my number dropped. I looked at the end of the season and it was like, oh my goodness, this is horrible. So, those numbers, they can fluctuate pretty bad depending on how much you play and how bad you and your teammates are playing too.
It even gives you kill distance. It gives you lifespan, scores per kill, score per life, kill distance, and assists per game. My kill distance is.
I'm gonna make you feel bad, Remy. My ELO for trials is 1176.
Well, yeah, but they just said that it's only you only move. So you played like what, 3 games?
6. Well, 6
games?
cards probably in total.
Let me see. Yeah, that sucks. People looking me up. Seriously though, we played 15 games and I won once. We got to move on. This has been a lot of fun, but yeah, I really enjoyed Trials, and I will play Trials every time there is no radar, no revives, because it is fun. It's raw and it's quick and it's decisive. I really feel like I did my best work despite only having one out of 15 games. I feel like I did a great job. I feel like I was in control. Like there's moments where I'm playing the game, where I'm playing like specifically Crucible, where I think to myself, why'd I do that? Why'd I do that? Why'd I do that? And this time around, I didn't feel that way. This time around, the biggest problem for me was reloading. Reloading is where my where my biggest problems came in. But yeah, we gotta move on. We got other things to cover. Specifically, I want to talk quickly again about Festival of the Cost, which, man, life makes me laugh every time I think about that. And we'll probably cover this once more next week, just to wrap it up. I still haven't bought any treasures. I'm still on the fence about it. Datto, I watched a video from Datto about how to get some of the things. And he said that he doesn't really care about the masks. He's never going to use them. They take away abilities. They drop your light level. He doesn't ever wear them. And I feel like that's what I have been thinking. And I did not wear, but maybe once or twice, wore a mask in between festival last year and festival this year. And I feel like that broke a spell. I feel like somebody walked up to me and snapped their fingers and, you're unmystified, because now what I'm looking at, it's still the same thing. What I really want is that Ghost and that Sparrow, but I feel like I can just live without it. Like there's so many other ghosts. There's so many other sparrows. Like I just wish it was more rewarding. I wish there was more magic to it, because now every time I hit the tower, this time around, every time I hit the tower, I think about how robbed I feel. Like last year, I felt like there was like a magic to being in the tower, and it was really cool. Like there was like a feeling of, oh, it's spooky, or it's mystical or whatever. And now I just keep thinking about, well, am I going to spend this money or am I not going to spend this money? And it's stressful. Like I don't want to think about that. I want to have a good time. Like I don't even want to complete the 3 free treasures, one on each of my characters. Like this is how much I've been affected by the way they've done this. Like turning in your candy bag, what's the point? You might get a shader that you might have already got. Like it's sad. Like this is the saddest Halloween ever. Going to turn in your bag and it's like, okay, well, you'll get a vial and you'll get maybe another consumable. Like this sucks. It sucks. And I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like you should have a chance to gain some of those other things. Like we were talking about last week, Agros is saying about how he's willing to grind forever to get something if there's a chance. And there is no reason for him to grind, because all of the stuff that you could want is behind a paywall. And on top of that, I feel robbed because of those things I purchased last year are just being given away this year. They're just being given away. I feel like it's just a slap in my face. Like not only is it like whenever Sharks has kept something, that's really valuable or rare, and then, here it is again, or like what they did with those Iron Banner shaders, not the shaders, but the emblems. Oh, these are going away forever, so if you want these, you better get them now, or you can just wait until next year when we just hand them out to anybody. Like I just feel like what they're doing is they're lining us up to not give a crap about anything that we have, so that they can start from scratch, which is a whole nother train of thought. It's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, I still haven't. That's not to say that I won't. Just because I do want to support Bungie. I do want to support Bungie. I do want them to do more events in the future. I do, but I don't want them to do it like this. Like this just feels like a punch in the dick, like I don't know how else to phrase it. It feels like, oh, hey buddy, like let's play Rochambeau, and you're like, what? And then that's it, like it just feels rude, and it feels cheap, and I don't want it to feel like that. At least on that first Festival of the Lost, you got these blue masks and you could wear them around, and then you could purchase these other things and break those ones down to keep ones that you did want. Or you can just wait until next year when they just frickin' hand them out for free. Like, I'm so frustrated by that. Like I held on to those things for so long for no reason. Just 5 slots in my already crammed vault that didn't need to be there. They're just going to hand them out to you anyways. And I don't know, like that. I'm just going to keep looking at that gift or the holiday kiosk and just hating it. I'm just hating it. Like I feel like it's just Destiny just keeps, Bungie keeps making the wrong moves. And it's sad. And then this is not to say that I won't buy some of these things. But I will tell you what, River said he spent $10 on it. And he said he will not go back to Eververse and purchase anything if they keep doing this. Like if this is the way it's going to be, he will not be spending any more money. Because really, my plan was to spend 20 on each system. That's $40 I could spend on something else. I could throw in another 20 and buy a whole game. Could buy a whole game. I'd buy Titanfall. If I had $60 right now, I would buy Titanfall.
Remy, you say you don't like this, but then you say you're going to tell Bungie you want them to keep doing it.
No, I want them to keep doing events. I want there to be a festival.
No, you want them to keep doing this way of selling packages and items. If you buy packages, that's what you're voting for.
I know, but here's the thing: is I like stuff. I like stuff.
And you want Bungie to keep doing it this way because you're going to keep giving them money, and everyone like you will keep giving them money.
But I haven't yet. Doesn't that mean anything?
You can't really vote when you only have the option of having it or not. It's not really a vote. Like, if you have to have something, like, if you feel the need to have something, you can still disagree with their method of giving you that thing.
Thank you, Jez. That makes me feel good.
Voting for it to continue. And here's the thing. Destiny, in September of this year, made more money than it ever has.
Well, I don't think that's all microtransactions.
That was the game. That was people buying the game, the DLC.
Considering there wasn't much for microtransactions.
No, it was people buying the DLC. That's when the DLC was released.
That wasn't the microtransaction numbers.
People aren't going to buy the DLC than bought the game originally. If they made more money then than they did at any other point, that means the packages are what pushed them over.
No. It's talking about the launch window of the original game. More people bought this version than the last one, or the vanilla. But the part that it's based off the NPD numbers, not so much all of their content.
Yeah, there was a report. There was another report because they report this every single month, and the month before, which was August, they showed the percentage that Destiny was making, which was obviously mostly microtransactions. So that September number that you're talking about, where they made so much money, was, I don't remember how much it was, 60 million, something like that, give or take. That was the DLC. That was people buying the DLC. So that kind of gives you
some of the DLC. It wasn't only DLC.
Okay. I'm right now, without having thought it too far through, I'm willing to accept RNG packages like this on one condition, and that would be like I'm reading here. J-Man X7 says SRL better not be like this. He also says Activision had an earnings call and made $1 billion in microtransactions, and I can't really believe that, because that's crazy.
They're not talking about Destiny. They're saying how much they've made in microtransactions for all their games.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
But so SRL better not be like this. I will buy packages that are randomly sorted in, like, specifically like the Sparrow toolkit, guaranteed to have a Sparrow in there that you don't already have. I will buy those ones. Like that. That doesn't make me feel too rotten. I did buy a bunch of Sparrow toolkits, and I got that pink one. I wasn't interested in the pink one. That Laurel bearer. I wasn't interested in the Laurel bearer. But at least I got a Sparrow out of it. You know, like at this point, I watched a video. I watched Holtzman's video on opening them, and so I thought, okay, well, if I put $20 down, I can open 10 packages, so let's see what he gets in the first 10 packages. And he did get the Ghost, which made me think, okay, well, if I was guaranteed the Ghost in my first 10 packages, I would spend the $20. I want the Ghost. It looks cool. I think it would be neat to add it to my collection. Here's a chocolate Ghost. Here's a sparkly Ghost. You know, like, I think it would be cool to have. But yeah, I just can't support it. I just can't do it. I've got fatigue just thinking about it, and really, there's just going to be something new that I want. Would I rather use the Ghost, or would I rather use that really super cool Siva Ghost? You know, the same thing with that with Jealousy. It looks really awesome, but would I rather use that versus like the new Vanguard Sparrow that I just got, or the Arecibo Answer? Like, there's just so much good stuff out there that spending money just to buy a specific thing seems foolish. I don't think I'm going to do it, but next week could hold a different answer. So I want to get through this, but I would like to open up the floor right now. Agrios, do you have anything to add to this?
Nope, not in particular.
Sharks, do you have anything to add to this?
No.
Okay, Gray, do you have anything to add to this?
Yes, I just want to remind everybody that the Bungie Live team is bigger than it's ever been before. Bungie has more capital than they've ever had before. This is the first live event of the new update, and it is less content. It's worse than last year's, with a smaller team and less capital. And that's a sign that I don't like to see. I think that a company should be able to build on what they've already created, and this was a big step backwards.
Yeah. Thank you, Gray. Jez, did you have anything to add to this?
I disagree with it being less than last year. The only thing that they got rid of is being able to get the blue masks.
Yep.
Well, and also the fact that you could break down legendary masks and save the rare ones that you wanted to keep.
You don't have blue masks to do that, or a reason to do that.
The
That's
blue
what he's
mask
saying.
though added an
They're gonna
element
pull that
to
out
the
before you do
activity
that.
where people
Yeah,
were
but-
running around wearing masks. I don't see anybody
You
wearing
say
masks.
you say they didn't add anything, but they've added a whole bunch of stuff that you can pay lots of money for. They also added a whole bunch of shaders. So
what do you
these
call
things
that
make it
voice,
more than last
Jez?
year.
Yeah, but I think what Remy's saying is they may have added items that are purchasable, but they took away quests. They took away the interactivity with the community. All
Well,
of that has increased.
There was a
the quests
mechanic.
that they took away were things like sword kills in Crucible with the Crota mask and falling off
Yeah, they
the
were
ledge.
lame. They should have done better this year, not just taking things away.
Well, they also added the Saladin quest.
That's true. I liked the Saladin quest a lot. I like my Saladin mask a lot. And they just gave it to me. Okay. Let's move along to
I lost
Agrios.
Remy.
Uh-oh.
You're back.
Oh no,
You're
they're back. You're back.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, I've been thinking a lot about this. Oh no. I am gone. Can you guys hear me now?
No, we
Yeah,
can't.
You're good.
Okay. My computer was totally frozen with just a little swirly.
That's what
I've
happened to you a second ago.
I've been thinking about this a lot, about how some people feel like there's no story, and to a certain extent, there's some truth to it. And I last week I was talking about Gears of War and how there was a continuation of story. Phoenix is an older man now; he has a son. I care about these things, and I really feel like one of the things that is missing, and I go back to Mass Effect for this, is that we don't go out with anybody else except for other Guardians. And this is both a pro and a con, I feel, but maybe more so a con, because while you may be in control of the other people that you took out in Mass Effect, they were there with you, as you are fighting these bad guys. Your field of vision will sometimes, cross them, and as things are unfolding, they're there with you. And there's been so many times where I have come across a situation where I wish Saladin had come with us. I wish Zavala had come with us. I wish Cade was there with us. And they're over the headset, like they're on comms with us, but they're not there with us. And I feel like that's a missing element, a missing storytelling element, a missing interactive element, like specifically that mission where Eris, I don't know. I just feel like having NPCs with you would be excellent. And I hate to say this, but like even a guarding mission where you had to make sure that this NPC didn't die, that helps the immersion. And so
Any devices at all would help
What's
the
that?
immersion.
Yeah.
Any devices like that at all would help the immersion. The Destiny really lacks any sort of immersive devices at all. I've never enjoyed a game so much that I was so less involuntarily immersed in. Like, Destiny doesn't do anything to bring me into the fold on a personal level while I'm playing it. They don't get me angry at the bad guys. They don't make me feel compelled that I need to save somebody in some certain time or something like that. I don't feel that sense of urgency besides not checking off something on a completion box or checking off, I did this enough times to have completed this challenge mode. I like games that, I want to kill the bad guy because he's pissed me off. And I don't get enough of that from Destiny. It doesn't hit me on that emotional level. I don't get any sort of catharsis from playing Destiny. I enjoy playing it with my friends. I enjoy the skill levels it takes to play. I enjoy the quality of the gameplay. But the story doesn't draw me in at all. Anything interesting I've gotten from the story, I've had to go out and dig and find on my own, and it was not part of that emotional experience while I was playing.
So you think that having an NPC along would help that immersion?
Yeah, I think anything like that at all to bring me into the fold. Like, just like you said, even like a guarding mission or something like that. Like, if I've built a relationship with a character in a game and I have a connection for him and he's in trouble in the field, whether it's a video game character or not, like, I have an emotional response to help him and protect him. And when I succeed, like, yeah, kick their ass, like, it really, the only person I'm protecting at any given point are myself, or the one good point are the two guardians at my side.
Sharks, do you think that having an NPC along with you on a mission would help or hinder immersion? And do you have any other examples of what could help you really feel like you're part of this? Because I know that when I play, if I'm playing alone, I'm just playing alone. If I'm playing with some friends, I'm not really paying attention to the story. I'm paying attention. I'm talking with my friends. There is no middle ground, really. Like the only time we get to interact with other people face to face or on the same screen is in cutscenes. And I feel like when I'm playing by myself, those cutscenes work as intended. But when I'm playing with other people, I'm not really paying attention to the story. Even when I am paying attention to the story, it ends as soon as that goes over. So what do you think about that?
Well, we do have an NPC, the ghost.
Yeah, but he only comes out when you pull him out. Like when you pull him out to look at him.
Yeah. And also when he says keep them off me, it doesn't matter if they're on him.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter. That's the problem. The problem is the way that Bungie has implemented protecting our NPC, because our ghost is our NPC, or adding some other character to do the same thing. But yes, you're right. There isn't enough. It's not even enough incentive. I mean, like, okay, for instance, you use Septus Strike, and there you're supposed to be protecting your ghost from coming in, but they aren't attacking the ghost. They're never attacking the ghost. They're attacking the guardians. So that's where we lose it. It would be interesting if we did have some kind of protection mode. I mean, we talked about this before Rise of Iron. We said, oh, wouldn't it be cool if there was a mission where it was with Saladin? Saladin came with us, or I even remember we said, oh, what if it was in the raid? We have to go in and find somebody and bring them back out of the raid. I mean, stuff like that would be really cool. I mean, they obviously went a different route with this game. And these are just building blocks. We've talked about this many, many times. I think that when Destiny 2 comes out, there is a good possibility that we will see things like this added. I mean, look at the past Halo games. They over time they evolved and started doing different things like this. So I could see this happening later on, and not in this iteration of Destiny, but maybe the next one for sure. Yeah, I'm totally down for that.
Gray, what do you think about this? What do you think about the idea of an NPC who might actually be in peril instead of this, this ghost who, it doesn't matter. You can totally run away and leave him there, and there isn't anything working against you. And I remember when the game first came out, and it was like guard the ghost, that one of those first missions, and nothing happened when you didn't guard the ghost. And then it became obvious that there was no penalty for not even hanging out next to him. Do you think that would help the immersion, and do you have any other ideas that would help settle us into this game, maybe on a level where we could, I feel like part of Destiny's problem is that it's not grabbing people's attention. Even with cutscenes, people are saying that there is no story to Destiny, when, if there wasn't a story to Destiny, everybody would be up in arms over it. What do you think?
So I absolutely hate game mechanics which are defend the NPC, and if the NPC takes so much damage, then it's a wipe and you have to start that encounter over. I hate that mechanic. I think that it makes you invested in taking care of that NPC, but just as far as, do I want to go and play an activity? I get past those missions as fast as I can. I never go back and replay them. I don't find them very enjoyable, which is probably a big reason why they didn't implement that as a common game mechanic in Destiny.
Definitely.
I think what Bungie needs to probably do is get off this mindset of this is your guardian, and your guardian is defined by the sum of their experiences in the game. Right? That's such a big part of their perspective on what this game experience is supposed to be for the user. But then I don't feel very connected to my guardian, because my guardian is just the 1,000 times I've ran these missions with this guardian, I still don't know who that guardian is. It's who I want to pretend, who I want to make it up. What I would like, what would make me more engaged, is some backstory. Give me something. I don't play Destiny because I want to pretend that this guardian is me necessarily, or that is reflective of the person that I am. I want to pretend that I'm doing something that I personally wouldn't do. I play games to kind of break out of my normal reality and do something that isn't something that I necessarily can directly relate to. So make this guardian something that's totally different and give a backstory to that guardian. That's okay. And then I get to enjoy playing as whatever this character is, but it has to be defined. Right now, I think that Bungie expects us to define it, and there's so many players out there who they lack the imagination to really want to define it and run with it as themselves. And that's not everybody. There are players out there that have wonderful backstories and are connected to their guardians. I just know, as the game player that I am, that's not me.
That makes a lot of sense. And I keep going back to this thought about Mass Effect, because the people who I would take with me all of the time, well, in Mass Effect 3, I would take Liara and I would take the Prothean. I don't remember what his name is now. But watching how they responded to everything we did was important to me, because I had an idea of who they were. I had an idea of what they thought, and was a very interesting thing. And I feel like your buddies back at the tower coming over the comm just isn't enough. Oh, what is that? Well, how do you see that? What is going on? Where are you? I don't know. I
think I want to put something out there to all of you. I understand the want to make this into a game where our guardian has this story, right? And I think part of the problem is that, well, people expected it was going to be like that. But there are a lot of games out there where your character doesn't have a story. It's not about your character's story. It's about you going in, you're playing that character, and it's the story of the game. Okay, so, look at, there's Elder Scrolls. You make a character, and your character doesn't have a story.
Oh, yes, he does. I'll argue with that all day long. you make tons of different permanent choices in Elder Scrolls that permanently affect your game and your character, and no two characters are going to be the same, because if you, especially in Elder Scrolls, you can go out and kill storyline characters, and if you do that in your game, that storyline will never happen, or that storyline will be completely different. Different people will come visit you based on what you do. And that's what I was going to say.
Every one of my Skyrim characters happens to turn out the same way every time.
So Gray brings up a good point.
That's not backstory. That's not story like what people are talking about. People are talking about, oh, I want my character to talk. I want my character to have this, we go into this mission and they're going to say like, oh, you know what? Your character actually did this and this is why you got revived. Special story twist to it. Ooh, la da, Dr. Shin, blah, blah, blah. But the fact of the matter is that this game, the stories that we're playing these stories, and it's like, okay, I played this story and I know the story of Oryx and I know the story of Crota and all this stuff. And I, as a player, know that. I've gone in and I've done that as a hunter because it's different as a hunter. Done it as a warlock. I've done it as a titan. And we're getting on and we're playing that way. And I think people are wanting too much for what this game really is. This is not like going and playing. This is not like going and playing Drake's Fortune, where it's Drake, and you got to have that story. And every rendition of that video game, you're going to have more backstory, and then you're going to, have the characters that have interacted. I know that there is a little bit of that here, but you guys are imagining it as something like that when it's not that kind of a game.
Here's my rebuttal.
I agree with you saying that, but that's the problem, is that I want it to be that type of a game. I enjoy Destiny, and I want it to be more elaborate. I want it to involve me more. I think Gray made some good points. I think that I'd like to embellish upon that. Like, I think I would like to know more about my character, and I would like to put more of myself into the character. I would like to see the ability for my Guardian to make choices that are meaningful and unique to my character. Now, when I say unique to my character, I understand, like, if you come to a point in a game where you have 2 or 3 different static choices, that you and everyone else who picks that choice are going to be similar in that regard, but you still feel as though you shaped, that character rather than just piloting a story. And I agree with you, Sharks, that may just not be the game they're trying to make, but I want it to be. I think this is a way that they could alleviate some of the people's story issues, is to put things like choice and that into the game for your character.
Okay, so one of these ideas that I think that you're getting at is when you begin a game in Mass Effect, you get to choose, Earthborn or Reefborn or, like a military person. Like these are things that shape your character in a way that could very well be similar to other people's, but this is what you wanted it to be. And I feel like that's what Destiny does, but it doesn't actually do that. Like, you have to do that in your mind. It has to be a story that you tell yourself, and there's no way of reflecting that in your character. Like, every single one of our Guardians is exactly the same if we had the same RNG. The only thing that's different between any of our characters is what we get as roles. Like, if we were able to trade, all of our characters would be exactly the same at some point. Somebody would get a really sweet role and would hand it out to a friend, and then so I think that, I don't know, I think that goes back to the same deal. That goes back to the same deal. Jez, did you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, I did several times. So the rebuttal about there not being this personalized story, we had it, or the story that we're looking for, we've had it once in the one mission to get our subclass. That was the best mission because it gave backstory and kind of gave you a progression in your character.
Yeah,
that I like that a lot. I agree. Okay, I want to move on. Unless anyone has anything else they want to add to this. I see that Zombie Agrios is elsewhere. We are coming up. We're coming up to closer to the end of the show. Jez, is there anything that you think we should talk about before we go?
Challenge mode.
Challenge mode. Okay. Gray, what do you want to talk about before we go?
I'm gonna agree with Jez. I think that we need to have a decent discussion on did challenge mode live up to the non-hype that we were given by Bungie.
Okay, 2 for challenge mode. Sharks, what do you want to talk about before we go?
I think that should be talked about first, and then come back to me about talking about something else.
Oh, okay. It's as a secret. It's a surprise.
No, I'm not going to talk about it if we don't have time. So,
well, I just want to write it down. I just want to write it down. I'm going to weight it.
Destiny 2.
Okay.
Report from Activision.
Okay. All right, Agrios. What else do we have for conversation left on your screen?
Those things and Iron Banner.
Oh, yes, Iron Banner. Definitely want to talk about that. Definitely looking forward to Iron Banner. It's going back to Control. Very excited about that. I'm very excited that the machine gun is up for grabs. I saw a couple people had it, and I really want to play with it. It looks really awesome. Very excited about that.
I was not impressed with the machine gun. I managed to get one last Iron Banner.
You like it?
It might be okay for. I mean, it's just okay. Like you're going to kill with more bullets in almost any of the higher impact. I mean, with fewer bullets in almost any of the higher impact heavy machine guns for PvE, and I mean, maybe it has a place in PvE, but I just wasn't impressed. I mean, when you have things like Quillen's Terminus that auto reload when you don't have it up and stuff like that,
it does melt a lot. I
have a question. Did Agrios overweight the 3 of ours?
Well, no, I just wanted to get an idea of what we had left to talk about. And so what I'd like to do is have, like Agrios said, Iron Banner. I wanted to talk about that. Get out of the way. Jez, you were saying it does melt in what occasion?
In PvP. And I also say I can guarantee this is going to be the most farmed Iron Banner yet.
Why is that?
Because it's Clever Dragon.
Yeah, that pulse rifle is amazing.
Is it?
Amazing. I got one. I was lucky. I got one during the first Iron Banner, and it has counterbalance, high caliber rounds, and something else good. I don't remember what. Something gives it stability. Maybe brace frame.
Balance.
It was really good. And it's amazing.
I feel like even the poorly rolled Iron Banner gear have a lot of options, and I feel like this is really awesome. I feel like having so many options means that you could get a decent roll in there instead of it being either a really great roll or really crap roll. I feel like there's a middle ground with these Iron Banner gear, and so I'm really looking forward to that as well. Gray, are you looking forward to Iron Banner?
Yeah, it seems odd that it's coming up already. This whole season has just flown by, it seems. I'm glad they're going back to Control, partly because Hefty Flounder really loves playing on Control, so I'm sure that we'll be doing a lot of it. And it'll be the first Iron Banner that I'll get to participate on the PlayStation 4 side as well, so that's exciting. There's a whole group of Guardian 1 players that I haven't had a chance to play with yet, and this is probably going to be my first introduction to playing with them.
Hey, wait a second. Did you guys hear that? I just heard the nail in the coffin for the Xbox One side of Guardian 1.
Not even close. Not
Gray,
true
you're holding
at
it
all.
together, my friend. You're holding it together.
just like you primary on PS4, but for some reason you're knocking on my door every Monday night to raid on the Xbox side.
Right.
I will still primary Xbox and sneak over to PS4 every once in a while. No worries, Mystic. I'll still primary on Xbox One.
And really, to be honest, like a lot of my friends and family play on the Xbox One, so I'm still going to be playing plenty there. I don't know how I'm so 50-50 down the middle between the two systems. Like I think that I started playing off a ton more on PlayStation, and then I just play randomly on the Xbox. You know what's crazy is I now prefer the Xbox One controller that came with the what is it, the 1S. What a great controller. I mean, it could be that I've put 1,500 hours into the now 3-year-old PlayStation 4 DS4. I just really need a new PlayStation 4 controller, and then I'll be able to give a more a more accurate point of view there. Sharks, what do you think about this upcoming Iron Banner? Are you excited?
I'm glad it's Control. I've been missing Control. You know, I like all the different game modes, but I said last Iron Banner when they flip, I hope they don't go back to Clash. So it will be a nice change to see Control. I think a lot of people will be a lot less bitchy about this thing. And then hopefully the next one will be Rift. But anyways, yeah, no, I'm excited.
Jez, will you be playing Iron Banner this time around?
Yeah, probably. It's just easy enough to do.
Are you going to be one of those people who's grinding for a sweet cryptic dragon?
I got a pretty good one, but yeah, I'll probably get a better one. And not to mention, it'll give me more chances at the scout.
Yeah,
that's all I care about.
Remy, one more point. I am so ready to be disappointed that Aphrodite's going to come back and she's just going to say the exact same dialogue. There's going to be no new cutscenes, no expansion on her character. I'm so ready to launch Iron Banner and be disappointed by no new content from Aphrodite.
Yeah, I'm ready for that as well. And I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I always hope I'm wrong. If you go back and listen to some of our episodes, Gray, there's like people were like shooting for the stars. Like I remember when SRL came out, like the first week we were talking about it, like Crimson Warlock's like, oh well, I hope that they give us two new maps every week. And it's like it was the same 2 maps every single time.
To be fair, that one cutscene and the one quest line has had more character development than the entire time Saladin was the Iron Banner representative.
Okay, I'll go along with that.
Just the apologist.
I'm just
I have to say one thing. I am kind of surprised with new challenge mode coming out next week that we've got Iron Banner. I mean, they could have easily delayed it. I mean, people would have been up in arms, but just a little surprised.
Yeah. You're muted, Agrios. What were you gonna say?
I said, yeah, they could have skipped a week for sure. They could have definitely, left a week no challenge mode go for Iron Banner.
All right. So let's move on. Let's move on to challenge mode. I have not completed challenge mode yet. I haven't even tried challenge mode yet. And a word of advice to anybody who is hoping to get in with Dakota Dark on any of his, you need to be there at the time he says, I was online, I was in orbit at 8 o'clock, and that wasn't good enough for him for his 8 o'clock run. And so I just want you to know, like, if you're signing up to hang out with him, you need to be there and ready beforehand. I would give it 15 minutes, to be honest. I have like kids to feed and I have like kids to change. Like I have a bunch of stuff to do. So when I made it at 8 o'clock, I was really proud of myself. He was already in a team in Wrath of the Machine at 8. And I thought, oh, this must just be like the last team that he ran through. They're just almost there and they just need to push a little bit further. And it wasn't the case. Me and Agrios just hung out in orbit just forever waiting for our invites, and they never came. So be there. Or you're not going to be there, which is cool. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to do it. It actually looks easy in the grand scheme of things, like in relation to if you can already do the hard mode. Doing the challenge hard mode doesn't seem like it would be that big of a deal, like if you're already able to do it, even though a hard mode Vosik is much more difficult than regular mode. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to doing it.
If you have a team of like all close to 400 people, that's going to make a difference, because what happens is you lose because of what you have to do with one of the seaborbs. You lose a bunch of DPS on the boss.
Yeah,
so you generally have your lowest late person do that.
Totally. Well, one of the people, Dato specifically, was talking about how this challenge mode punishes people who are good players because you have to hold back how much damage you do to him because you have to run those doors 3 times. There has to be three. No, what are you saying, Sharks?
You don't have to hold back if you're good players. You have to hold back one SIVA bomb. You have to hold back one bomb, and then you're doing all that damage that you would have gotten.
No, it's not about that. It's because you have to do 3 cycles.
Yeah.
You can't 2 cycle them.
Yeah, some are doing it in 2 and you're not counting.
Don't shut
all doors. What are you talking about? You do it in...
You gotta bomb the doors twice, which takes 2 cycles, then the 3rd cycle you finish them off. So you gotta go through 3 cycles of X.
So Dato was saying that he was able to finish that guy off like a lot sooner than the challenge expects you to, and so it's punishing those people who are able to do it sooner.
It's not punishing. This is what makes it harder because you're having to go through an extra cycle. That's the whole point. It's supposed to be more challenging because it would be easier for somebody to make a mistake and die, and if they make a mistake and die, then it's going to be even harder. So I don't see how it's punishing.
The problem with that is if you are an okay player and you normally do 3 cycles, you're not going to feel any different. Whereas the person that can do it in 2 cycles suddenly has more of a challenge. Well, it's not really a challenge. It's just
already
just gotta hold back.
Able to do it in 2 cycles. They have to take 3 cycles to do it beforehand. It's enough for them to just have to coordinate this extra stuff. They already couldn't get it done in 2 cycles. Now they got to coordinate all this extra stuff. That's why it's a challenge to them. The people who are so good that they get it done in 2 cycles have to extend their time and take all that extra risk. That's why it's a challenge to them. That's actually why it's a good challenge, because it's a challenge to everybody.
We used to get it done in 2 cycles all the time, but now the challenge is to make sure that you don't go too far and that you don't die. You don't want somebody to make a dumb mistake. So it is an easy challenge for a lot of people. But I don't see a problem with it.
I certainly wouldn't complain about a challenge mode being punishing, especially after some of the challenges in Kingsfall being just way too easy. I want challenges to be punishing. That's the point. Frankly, to be honest, I'm not satisfied with a game that puts out the hardest challenge that anybody can beat anytime in the first couple weeks that the challenge exists. It's not really a challenge. It's just it's just something to do mode, not really challenge mode. It's something to do.
Good point.
Like, the 2 best options is to have a 3rd difficulty type, just ratchet everything up another step to 410, or have a big red button at the back that you just punch, and it changes the boss's mechanics.
Nearly impossible.
I
said I'm only happy if the hardest achievement's nearly impossible.
Yeah, it's gotta have.
What do you guys think about how they released it? Do you think that the fact that they just kind of let it out, didn't tell us beforehand that was the right way to go about it?
I got on Twitter. I saw people were posting challenge mode, and I posted to the people that we were getting ready to do raid. I was like, oh, you guys know it's challenge mode today, and everybody was like, no, challenge mode? What are you talking about? I think that was badass. That was awesome.
Do you think it was planned? Do you think it was an accident, or do you think it was a last-minute decision, or do you think it was planned?
Okay, so I hope it was planned, but it would be even cooler to me if it wasn't planned. Like if I hope it was planned because I enjoy these surprises, much like they didn't warn anybody about the Black Spindle mission. Someone just found it. And I think that that's really cool. Like I really like those kinds of things. But part of me hopes that they didn't plan it and that they just were cool and they just let it roll off their back. Like, oh, we screwed up, but we don't need to tell anybody we screwed up. Oh, surprise! Like I think
there's
fun.
Another option.
This is what they should do.
It wasn't planned, but it was a last-minute decision as a distraction from Festival of the Lost.
Oh, I like that one a lot.
I'll tell you, this is what they should do. They should have these challenge modes in the game from the start, both of them at the same time, and not have any notification that it's on.
I agree completely.
I agree with that as well.
That way, people have
and
excited
adding
surprise.
Agrios' point that they are very difficult
to figure out.
Yeah, well, yeah, because then you'd have people trying to figure it out from day one. Well, actually, I don't know if it works that much for the surprise then, because you're like, it's in there, you just gotta find it. But if they didn't tell anyone that it was in there from the day one, and you can complete it no matter what, that'd be great.
Agrios, did you complete challenge mode?
No.
Let's get this done. Let's get this done this weekend. What do you think about that?
Sure. I have not even attempted it, so I've been haven't had a lot of playtime this week, and the playtime I did have didn't work out for me to go raid. So.
Right. I was going to be awake anyways. You know what's funny about all of this is, there's like I have good days with my kids where I'm very busy being a parent, and then I have bad days with my kids where it's like I just need to clear the schedule because people need showers and things like this. And so it actually worked out better that Dakota is like an on-time kind of guy, because it was just a blowout of chaos at my house that morning. So even if I had gotten on and into that group, I would have most likely just said, look, you guys need to find somebody else and go on without me because shit is getting crazy here.
I had a lot of Halloween stuff going on. I like Halloween, obviously. I'm going to do a lot of Halloween-y things. So it's an involved time of the year.
Sharks, do you have another character that you need to run challenge mode on?
I've done it 3 times so far. But,
on all 3 of your characters?
Yeah, but you get more SIVA fragments every time you do it, anyways. Good.
Well, I would like you to be there when we do it because you're a good player. I like having you on my team. And then Gray, you said we're gonna do it on Monday.
Yeah, I think so.
Excellent. Let's do that on Monday. Agrios, were you going to be there tomorrow morning?
Likely.
Got it. Okay. So why don't we move on? What was the other one? Destiny 2. What is this talk of Destiny 2, Agrios?
Well, earlier, I believe it was yesterday, I'm not sure. Eric Hirschberg made a statement about Destiny 2. He said that we're on track and excited about what we think is going to be an awesome sequel for Destiny in 2017. No announcements today on timing just yet, but what I will say is that the sequel is designed to excite both our highly engaged current players, but also to broaden the appeal even further, bringing in new fans and bringing back old fans as well. That's our primary focus right now. He went on to say, beyond that, the incredible demand for Destiny content has somewhat outpaced our ability to deliver upon that demand, and going forward, along with our partners at Bungie, have put together what we believe is a very smart approach that will allow us to deliver the steady stream of great content to keep our players engaged and keep our universe alive and growing in the wake of that sequel. So
I like it.
That's what they had to say about Destiny 2. I mean, when he talks about our partners at Bungie, he's referring to High Moon Studios that they've made us aware of. And also there was a leak recently about another studio working with them. Their name escapes me, but that has yet to be confirmed. But we do know that, this seems to be in response to them just simply not being able to put out the content in the fashion in which they had hoped to for this Destiny experience. We all know about the original leaked timeline that showed us getting 2 DLCs, a major expansion, and 2 DLCs. The latter 2 DLCs, the Cabal and Vex themed ones, never showed, and instead we got the Taken King and Rise of Iron. The rumor also has it that basically most of what was in the Taken King was slated to be in original Destiny and just wasn't basically ready in time. So hopefully, hopefully they manage to get their vision together the way they want to present it for Destiny 2 by the time they want to present it this time. Because I really feel like that's part of what happened to Destiny is they just weren't able to put the entire vision out that they, were seeing as they were designing it initially. We don't know what exactly happened in that shakeup 9 months to a year before launch, but I mean, obviously there were major overhauls at that point. So, with what they've learned, I really look forward to, hoping that maybe some of our lack of content, lack of what we're hoping to get out of Festival of Lost is really energy that's simply being diverted into Destiny 2.
Sharks?
Well, what really kind of gets me thinking, because this is really the first true announcement that we've heard that it's going to be releasing. And I'm going to throw this to everybody in the panel. Do you guys feel that you are going to be able to have enough content to hold you over until Destiny 2? Now, I personally think that probably not. We're running out of content very fast, especially when people are not happy with things like Festival of Lost. People were expecting a lot more. I think we have big hopes for what's going to happen in December, but I have a feeling that many people will be disappointed with that. And so, what do you guys think? Do you feel that it's going to be enough to hold you over until potentially next September? We don't know it's September, but potentially.
I think if they answered the question about how my Guardian is carrying over, would decide that a lot of that answer. I think if they told me like, okay, we're overhauling the armor system and everything like that, but your guns, all of your guns in your vault will convert over and will increase in level up to the first level cap, and after that they'll all be capped away into non-existence, just like they are now. But you'll have those rules for the standard Crucible and stuff like that. If they just said that, like just that would give me incentive to really work toward getting a good vault full of guns for Destiny 2 to be the first stage.
But you're probably not going to hear anything on Destiny till to E3.
Well, I know I'm not going to hear anything specific. I'm not going to see pictures. I'm not going to hear like details of how things are going to work. But the answer to a simple question of how the current game is going to carry over, how that character is going to affect my character in Destiny 2, would give me a lot to work toward in that content gap, is what I'm saying.
Okay. No. Well, the one thing I want to say to that is, if Bungie is deciding that they're not going to carry over stuff, it would not surprise me that you don't hear that till the last moment.
Okay,
I said that
piss me off.
And I 100% agree.
That would piss me off. That would piss me off more than anything else.
But if they're going to, they need to tell me now, and that will help fill the content gap.
Yeah,
well, not
absolutely.
now, but right when they stop giving us new content.
Like, I still have a bunch of stuff that I want to do. Like, I still want to get both of my other exotic swords. I've slowly been working up to getting the solar and the arc one. I still want to. I don't know. There's still a bunch of stuff that I want to do, and.
Me with exotics. I have so many exotics that I need at this point. I got them all so quickly in Vanilla Destiny, but now I can't get any of the new ones.
Guys, I think it's pretty obvious what they're going to do. They've kind of tipped their hat. We're going to be able to buy packages from Eververse that have a chance of giving us an item that you can apply. That you can apply on an existing gun to move it to Destiny 2, but you only get a chance at getting it.
We yell about microtransactions a lot, but never, if you don't like the system, never look at COD system.
Yeah, is it crazy?
COD system has actual guns in their random packages.
You know what?
So does Battlefield. Look at what Maynard James was posting this last week. He bought tons of packages to get some kind of billy club or something. It's crazy.
There's some that are only found within these packages too.
That's pretty crazy.
But can you farm these packages in game without paying for them?
I don't know about the COD ones. Let me look.
Because if you can, I'm perfectly fine with all of that. Like,
Okay,
if I
so
can spend all day farming those packages, I'm fine with all that.
So, so I wanted to say Lawn Boy says he got all the hard mode gear in one run. Screw you,
awesome,
buddy. Jez says that he did it in Vanilla Destiny and Datto hated him for it. That's funny. But what I really wanted to read, J-Man X7 says he wants everything wiped clean, fresh clean slate. I have the answer for you. Delete yo shit. Like, it's very simple. Like anybody who really wants to start with a clean slate, you can do it right now. You could start over right now. You could delete all of your characters and then not have to worry about any of that. So, like, I see what you're saying, and it's valid. You want to start over. That's super cool. I understand. Delete it. Delete it all right now. Delete it right before Destiny 2.
Carrying over our guns and armor going to be prohibitive of new players entering the experience? Are they going to be like, I want to come play against all those people? They've been playing that game for 6 years. No.
Well,
they've all got Matador 64.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Agros, that actually is a great point. So you were saying that you'd be working towards something today. Now, are you in Remy's boat that you just like having things for the sake of filling up vault space? Or do you want it so that you have a slight advantage over other players as you start out?
It's cute that you think that I still have vault space to fill. That's cute.
That is cute. Silly YouTube player.
When I item I decide I want to keep, it's deciding which item to delete to make its home into.
Yeah, but that's not actually what I'm asking. I'm asking what's the purpose of the item that you're carrying over into Destiny 2? Is it so that the initial content's a little easier because you have better gear going into the initial content? Or is it to be better than other players? Or is it just for the sake of having these things that you like to have?
I just want these things that I've earned. I've spent time earning this crap, and I want to carry it over because it's crap that I've earned.
So you're fine if it's not useful, right?
Totally
have it,
fine.
But it's not useful.
I'm totally fine if it's not useful.
So you'll have that always, Remy, because it's always not useful in Destiny 1.
I would actually rather have it be useless in Destiny 2 because I actually what was it? MTash was talking about he wants it to be a clean slate for Destiny 2 because he, like every time a new weapon comes out, you can compare the stats of the last weapons. And so when Rise of Iron came out, he already knew that the palindrome was like an AS Luna type, with different different perks to it. So he already knew what the best weapons were. So he wants a total reworking of everything because he wants to get that feeling of not knowing what the best weapon is, so he can go out there and try it and play with it. So he wants it. What's that?
New and fresh game.
And so I agree that I would like that feeling as well. I do the same thing. I find something and I compare it to weapons that I already have, and then I will be able to tell roughly what this weapon is going to be like. But I do want that feeling again, but I don't think that you have to erase all of these things. Like I like tchotchkes. I've got a ton of little toys and trinkets around my room that don't do me any good in Destiny.
Hey, don't you just want to be pissed off next year that you kept something and wasted space and having just like you did with all your masks? What's the point?
Well, but they won't be giving away this old crap. Like, why would they even give away any of that old crap?
Why would they? They do it now.
My biggest problem with your system, Remy, that we have these guns and they go into the next game, is that means that they can't change any of the stats on the guns. They can't they can't play with that.
What do you mean?
Like they can't play with instead of accuracy, maybe they actually put stuff like I don't know. I can't think off the top of my head. But they can't have
just think about how pissed off
changes to the
Agros
gun.
was. just think about how pissed off Agrios was with them changing gun stats. That's exactly right. You wouldn't be able to change stuff, just like Jez says. In reality, okay, so I want my stuff. I've paid for stuff, and I'm still contemplating paying for more stuff to have in this dumb game. But in reality, it would be way better if this new Destiny is that you don't get to bring that stuff over. In reality, because it would make it feel like a new game. I remember when Black Ops first came out, and I played that the whole year. I played that, and then I went and bought whatever the Modern Warfare was. I hated that, and I played that too. And then finally, Black Ops 2 came out. It was awesome that it was new. Everything was new. You learned things over again, but it was still Black Ops. And they're the story. They have the campaign, so you get the story. I in reality, I think that would be good for Destiny also, because bringing over this stuff is going to limit so much.
Okay, so I think that this can all be solved by someone at Bungie going back in time and slapping every single person who was about to say, oh, you'll see your guardian, you'll carry your guardian with you, and he'll grow and, and change and all these things.
I think that statement can still be 100% honored by allowing you to transfer your guardian's appearance and in my hopes, it goes so far as the emblem collection, your shader collection, but more importantly, your Dead Orbit, New Monarchy, your future War Cult rep, and if there's missions to be started at level 25 in Destiny, well, it would be once you gain 25 more rep levels with that whatever faction. Or however that would work out.
Remember,
but
you are not.
I still feel like it's my character. My guardian, my guardian's legacy carried on.
What were you saying, Jez?
I said you are not the sum of your items.
You are, though.
No, you're not.
Aren't you? You are. That's what your guardian is. Well, is the sum of your items.
No, if you delete those items and get them back again, you're still the same person.
Jez is right. You're not the sum of your
or gear. Better way to put it is you own your gear. Your gear does not own you.
Right. Your gear helps. Your gear helps show it off, but in reality, it doesn't do anything with your character, because I knew I soloed Crota. I knew I was the sword bearer all the time. I know that I went and did this and I went and did that. You're the sum of your own character. So Jez is totally right.
Maybe we'll get our detailed starting areas that was promised, or not promised, but was leaked.
Okay, Unilala says emblems, emblems, and I thought that would be funny. Thank you.
Embolisms are not a laughing matter.
No, they're not. She says that you are the sum of your experiences, and the gear is the token from those sums of those experiences. I can't imagine having run any of the raids that I did more than once if I wasn't looking for a treat at the end of those experiences. So, all of those times I ran Vault of Glass and did not get Mythoclast, I would not have kept running it if I didn't want to get that Mythoclast. So
really?
At some point,
Agrios and I ran Crota, 100 times? You think we were after gear? We weren't after gear. We were after having a good time.
Yeah, and we had that shit down pat.
Yep.
Okay,
we each had our jobs to do, and we each knew what to do in our jobs, and we each got it done. It was incredible.
I just would have spent my time elsewhere. Like for me,
spent your time watching us do it Tuesday morning.
What?
You spent your time standing in the corner watching me and Sharks tear through the raid every Tuesday morning, at least one or two of them.
Well, yeah, because I wanted the gear at the end of that experience. That was the point. The point is to ride your guys' coattails to some sweet gear.
Wow.
Like that's
wow.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun watching sharks try and jump up that thing and then not being able to, and then hearing that shark's special.
I was faster at jumping up that thing in the first ledge, though.
But yeah, I just what is it? The sum of our experiences. I don't know. We got some kind of 4 minutes left. So
make my medal system. Let's go back to that.
Let's go back to your medal system.
No.
Okay, shout outs. Starting with Gray.
My shout out this week goes to Nerdy Girl. She's in Guardian 1 on the PlayStation 4 side. I haven't played with her, so I can't say that we've, I can say about the support that she provides, though I've heard really good things. More from an administrative side, she has been wonderful in Guardian 1, wanting to participate in many of the activities that we're trying to organize and show certainly some leadership in what's going on with Guardian 1. So I do appreciate that, and my shout out tonight goes to her.
Excellent. Sharks.
I kind of have two. My first shout out is to my raid team for waiting for me, and this is what my real shout out is for, is they were waiting for me because I was picking up my dog, my puppy, from the vet. So my shout out is to the vet for doing a great job and my puppy coming home safe.
I like it. Agrios.
My shout out this week goes to JManX7 in the chat for suggesting great material and supporting our podcast.
Excellent. Jez.
My shout out is to the future game designer at Bungie that decides to put medals into PvE content.
I like it. Make sure to update your shout out when that happens.
Yep, I'll give the name and everything.
My shout out is to Wayne Static, who is this guy right here. This picture was taken, me and him, in 2001, I think. This was at a Godhead show, and I just saw him cruising around the venue, and I went up and talked to him, and he's like he died 2 years ago on the 1st of this month, and like I recognize the tragedy of David Bowie and people like this, but Wayne Static was like specifically. I loved all of his guitar tones, and I loved all of his music. And on top of that, he was just a really great guy. And there had to have been like a year or two where I just saw him like every weekend. Like that's just what I was doing, was going to a Static X show. It was just so much fun. And it always meant so much to me. And when he died at like 50 years old. Like he still had touring that he could have done, albums that he could have made. And it's, I don't know, it's a tragedy, and I miss him. Like maybe not as much as I will when Trent Reznor dies or Maynard James Keenan dies, but Wayne Static meant a lot to me in this circle of people that I've hung out with very, very superficially, but really appreciated his music, and just really, I don't know, just sometimes I'll put on Machine. I'll just put on Machine. It's just such an amazing album, and draw or just hang out. And so it's, I don't know, it sucks. Wayne Static was a cool dude. So that's my shout out. He was awesome. And I miss him. I wish he was still around. Okay, that wraps up episode 107. We would like to thank everyone listening for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any suggestions for topics to be discussed on the show, or have any comments on something that has already been covered, please leave them in the comments below, or send them to feedback@guardian1.net, and we will see you next week.